Modern industrial manufacturing relies entirely on the continuous, unstoppable generation of mechanical torque. If the gears stop, the supply chain stops. Driving almost all of this heavy-duty industrial motion is a single type of machine, the three-phase induction motor. Industry favors the three-phase design over single-phase or DC motors for a highly practical reason. It demands far less maintenance, primarily due to its extreme mechanical simplicity. Looking at this cross-section, we see the internal architecture. Notice what's missing. No complex switching circuits, no commutators to wear down over time. In fact, excluding ball bearings, the squirrel cage rotor seen here is the motor's only moving part. By stripping away the physical wear points, engineers have shifted the primary challenge of building this motor. The obstacle is no longer replacing broken mechanical parts. The challenge is managing invisible electromagnetic physics. The lack of physical switching and commutation is what allows the three-phase induction motor to safely utilize very high supply voltages. This introduces a fundamental electrical trade-off. This scale illustrates the relationship. The higher the voltage is pushed, the lower the required amperes become. As this inverse shift occurs, the total watts and horsepower remain exactly the same. The work output does not change. The physical benefit of this trade-off is substantial. Because the amperage is kept low, facilities can power massive, high-horsepower motors using surprisingly small supply line wires. But bringing massive, high-voltage electrical forces into a compact machine generates extreme heat and severe physical stress. The motor's body must be built to survive the very energy it requires. To understand how an industrial motor handles this, we have to build its physical architecture from the inside out, letting the electrical theory dictate the mechanical design. The process starts at the power source, specifically with the three-phase alternator, which contains three distinct single-phase windings. This graph shows the voltage sine wave produced by that alternator. The electrical current in each of these three phases is spaced exactly 120 degrees apart in time. Because of this spacing, the voltage peaks sequentially in each phase. On a 60 Hz system, the peak in each phase occurs just 1/180th of a second apart. When we translate that rapid sequence of electrical peaks into the physical space of the stator windings, it creates a continuously rotating magnetic field. As this magnetic field rotates, its lines of force cut across the metal rotor bars. This induces an electrical current in the rotor, which in turn creates its own internal magnetic poles. These rotor poles then lock onto the stator's rotating field, providing the force that drags the rotor along. Consequently, the speed of this induction process is strictly governed by only two variables. The first variable is the frequency, or hertz, of the incoming AC power source. The second variable is the physical number of poles wired into the stator itself. Looking at the stator core on our diagram, we see the highly permeable steel required to house this rotating field and rapidly change magnetic polarity. Below the slots is the back iron, a solid metal ring that completes the magnetic path from pole to pole. The stator serves as the physical vessel for the magnetic field. However, managing that field inside a metal enclosure creates a highly destructive byproduct. The rapid, continuous changing of magnetic polarity within the steel generates severe internal heat. This heat is caused by eddy currents, stray electrical currents that become trapped within the core iron as the magnetic field sweeps through it. If engineers were to use a solid block of steel for the stator core, it would be a catastrophic design failure. Unchecked eddy currents would rapidly overheat the metal. To solve this, the stator core is built from hundreds of thin steel sheets called laminations. Dividing the metal severely restricts the eddy currents, drastically reducing the heat. This directly links the power frequency to the physical design. Motors built for higher hertz develop greater eddy currents, and therefore require even thinner laminations to keep the core temperature stable. Yet laminations only mitigate the heat. They do not eliminate it entirely. Active cooling is still necessary. Returning to the motor's cross-section, we can see the primary active cooling mechanism, the fan attached directly to the rotor. A highly efficient manufacturing technique for cast aluminum squirrel cage rotors is to cast the fan blades directly into their end rings. As the rotor spins, these blades force air to move internally, drawing the heat away from the copper windings and the laminated core iron. Whatever heat remains is pushed outward into the motor's steel shell, where it can finally escape into the surrounding environment. Without precise lamination thickness to limit eddy currents and active internal airflow to sweep away the rest, the magnetic efficiency of the motor would melt it from the inside out. Zooming out from the core, we reach the final protective layer, the motor's outer shell and end brackets, which support the bearings and rotor shaft. Building this shell requires choosing a frame material capable of handling the intended horsepower load. Here we see the two main options. On the left is a cast iron frame. Because it is extremely rigid, cast iron is the industrial standard for large motors of 10 horsepower and above. However, cast iron components, particularly the mounting feet and end bells, can be brittle. They are vulnerable to breaking under rough physical handling. On the right is the alternative, a pressed steel frame. Properly designed pressed steel is structurally superior for smaller motors under 5 horsepower. Pressed steel provides a much lighter weight, making these smaller industrial motors far easier to handle and install. Beyond the material, engineers must also specify the geometry of the frame length. This schematic compares a long-framed motor's rotor shaft against a short, compact shaft. Shorter frames have a strict mathematical advantage. Less distance between the bearings means there is significantly less chance of shaft deflection and rotor drag. Because of this stiffness, short, compact motors handle rough, direct drive duties, like chain drives or heavy vibrators, exceptionally well. The final layer of the mechanical specification is the environmental enclosure, which dictates how the frame handles air and moisture. Open motors, classified as drip-proof or splash-proof, allow free air movement over the windings, but use internal baffles to shield the electrical components from falling water. In contrast, the motor in our diagram features a totally enclosed fan-cooled, or TEFC design. It is entirely dust-proof. Because the shell is sealed, the shaft extends through the rear to power an external fan, which blows air over these deep cooling ribs to shed heat. For the most dangerous environments, explosion-proof motors use an extremely heavy frame built specifically to contain an internal vapor ignition, preventing flames or sparks from escaping into the facility. The mechanical shell functions as specialized armor, its structural material and internal geometry dictated entirely by the mechanical loads and environmental hazards the motor will encounter. When we bring all of these deconstructed elements back together, the logic of the entire machine finally becomes clear. The three-phase induction motor exists for one purpose: to translate high-voltage electrical sine waves into continuous physical torque. Every piece of the internal architecture serves that specific goal. The massive high voltages demand a highly permeable magnetic stator core to guide the field. The rapidly shifting magnetic field demands thin steel laminations to prevent the core from melting under its own eddy currents. And the intense horsepower requirements and factory floor hazards dictate the rigid cast iron frames and totally enclosed enclosures. Yet all of this complex, heavy-duty architecture serves just a single moving part. By relying on a rotating magnetic field rather than physical commutators and brushes, engineers successfully eliminated the most common points of electrical and mechanical failure. The modern three-phase induction motor operates at the intersection of electrical theory and mechanical durability. Ultimately, it is a machine where invisible electromagnetic forces are perfectly balanced by highly specific, heavy-duty physical engineering.